There's a kind of quiet most people never pay attention to, a quiet that doesn't feel empty but feels like it's holding you together. It's the sound of your own home breathing, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the soft thump of water pipes settling, the gentle tick of a clock reminding you time is passing but not rushing. It's a quiet that doesn't demand anything from you. It simply lets you exist. Some people call this laziness. Others call it withdrawal. But to people who feel deeply, who absorb the world like a sponge, this quiet is something else entirely. It's safety. Most won't understand it. They'll see someone who prefers staying home and assume they're antisocial or scared of the world. But home isn't an escape knot for everyone. For some people, home is the only place where their nervous system can finally exhale. The only place where they're not performing, not adjusting, not shrinking or stretching themselves to fit into someone else's expectations. Because outside among crowds, conversations, noise, comparison, rush, something inside you slowly drains. You become too aware of how your voice sounds, how your body moves, what people are thinking, how you're being perceived. And even if nothing goes wrong, the constant awareness is exhausting. So, the moment you step through your front door, something shifts. Your shoulders lower. Your breath gets deeper. Your mind goes quiet in a way it never does outside. Home becomes the one place where your soul lays down the heavy armor it wore all day. Psychologists say people like this are often highly sensitive to external stimuli. Not too sensitive in the insulting way others might suggest, but literally wired to feel more, sense more, process more. Bright lights, loud conversations, too many faces, sudden noises, what others brush off your brain absorbs fully. It's not weakness. It's a neurological difference. That's why home feels like medicine. The silence doesn't just feel good, it regulates you. But it's deeper than overstimulation. There's an emotional truth hidden beneath it. Home is the only place where the mask falls off. Every human wears the socially acceptable version of themselves. The version that knows how to joke, how to smile, how to nod, how to show interest. The version that's fine even when they're running on fumes. Home is the place where that version dissolves. And what's left is the real you. The raw, honest, unfiltered you. It's strange how a person can be surrounded by people all day and still feel completely unseen. But the moment they're home, sitting by a window with a cup of tea, they suddenly feel visible again to themselves. That's the magic of solitude. People think solitude is isolation, but no. It's intimacy with your own soul. But society doesn't value stillness. Our culture applauds constant motion, endless hustling, the loudest voices, the busiest schedules. We treat silence like a red flag and solitude like a weakness. If you're not posting, partying, networking, traveling, showing your life off, then people assume something is wrong. But those who enjoy being home know something others don't. Fulfillment doesn't always live in noise. Sometimes it lives in pauses. There's a saying, if you don't go within, you go without. People who love staying home aren't avoiding life, they're aligning with themselves. They're processing emotions instead of ignoring them. They're healing instead of pretending. They're returning to a version of themselves they lose out there in the world. When you spend too much time around others, your identity starts to scatter. You become a slightly different person with each group. A version for friends, a version for co-workers, a version for family. Tiny changes, subtle adjustments, constant micro shifts. But at home, you get to be whole again. You get to be one complete person, and the quiet ones, the stay-at-home souls, often form deeper connections than anyone else. Not because they talk more or go out more, but because they value genuine connection over casual noise. They don't want 50 friends, they want one or two who don't require performance. People they can sit with in silence without it feeling awkward. Psychologists find something interesting. Those who spend intentional time alone often score higher in creativity, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Not because they're geniuses, but because they actually listen to themselves. They reflect. They observe. They understand their emotions instead of pushing them away. And in that stillness, clarity grows. New ideas form. Old wounds soften. Think about when your biggest realizations arrive. It's rarely at a party or in a crowded mall. It's during a quiet walk, a late-night shower, or a moment alone in your room. That's the power of solitude. It gives your mind enough silence to actually speak. Yet, ironically, many home lovers carry guilt. They feel like they're missing something, like life is happening somewhere else and they're failing to keep up. Social media fuels this guilt. When you see endless posts of people laughing, traveling, partying, posing, it's easy to think your quiet life is wrong, but that highlight reel isn't real life. Everyone is chasing peace. Some just find it in different places. There's something ancient about the need to retreat. Monks went to caves. Philosophers went to solitude. Writers locked themselves in rooms for days. Today, you do it in your bedroom with soft lights and a playlist. The intention is the same. Find stillness after chaos. Home is modern meditation. A sanctuary disguised as four walls. A temple where your soul recalibrates. And scientifically, home reduces stress. Your body produces less cortisol. Your heart rate stabilizes. Your mind That's why emotions rise at home the moment your guard falls. Everything you've been holding back finally surfaces. Tears, thoughts, memories, tension, it all comes up to be released. That's not weakness. That's healing in progress. People say you need to get out more. They don't realize that staying home isn't doing nothing. It's doing internal work. Reading, journaling, thinking, dreaming, reorganizing. These are silent revolutions happening behind closed doors. Because the truth is simple. People who love staying home aren't hiding from the world. They're preparing for it. Asterisk, there's a moment, right? When you close the door behind you, where the world finally becomes quiet. Not silent, quiet. There's a difference. Silence feels empty, but quiet feels alive. It feels like the air knows your name. It feels like the walls exhale with you, like the room adjusts itself to your presence and whispers, "You're safe now." Most people rush past this moment. They kick off their shoes, grab their phone, turn on the TV. But the ones who love being home pause. They listen to that quiet. They feel it. They recognize it as something sacred. Because for them, home is not for walls. It's a psychological reset. A place where they rediscover who they actually are beneath all the pretending. Some people don't get it. They think loving home means you're boring, introverted, scared, or socially awkward. They think it means you're avoiding life. But the truth is, people who love being at home often experience the world more intensely than anyone else. They're not weak, they're deep feelers. The sensitivity superpower. Call this trait high sensitivity, and it's far more powerful than people think. It means They notice tone changes in conversations. They sense emotional shifts instantly. They absorb the atmosphere of a room. They see details others overlook. They feel deeply and process thoroughly. But this gift comes with a cost. The world becomes loud to loud. Noises that others ignore feel like shocks. Crowds feel like storms. Small talk feels like emotional labor. Unexpected conversations drain them. So home becomes the only place where their mind isn't fighting for balance. Home as emotional decompression. There's a term psychologists use. Emotional decompression. It's what happens when you've spent the entire day managing yourself, your expressions, reactions, tone, posture, the politeness you're obligated to show. And when you finally walk into your room, all that emotional labor melts. You sit down. You breathe differently. Your shoulders fall. Your mind stops scanning for danger. You stop performing. And then something interesting happens. The emotions you didn't have time to feel earlier quietly rise. You suddenly feel tired, or sad, or peaceful, or thoughtful, or reflective. It's not that those emotions weren't. It's that home is the only place where they feel safe enough to surface. Some call this being dramatic, but mental health experts call it normal, healthy, necessary. Why society misunderstands home. Live in a world that worships noise. We measure life by how busy we are, how many people we meet, how often we go out, how much we post, how visible we are. Silence is treated like a failure. Stillness like laziness. Solitude like danger. So naturally, those who love staying home get judged. People don't understand that some humans don't recharge from noise. They recharge from the absence of it. And ironically, those same people who call you antisocial go home and quietly wish they had your peace. The inner world of home lovers. A beautiful secret about people who love being home. They have richer inner worlds than anyone else. The more time they spend in solitude, the more their imagination blooms. They notice beauty in small things, the shadow of sunlight moving across a wall, dust sparkling in the air, the warmth of a lamp, the softness of a blanket, the sound of their own thoughts, the way rain hits the window. It's a slower happiness, a quieter joy, but a real one. They don't need dramatic experiences to feel alive. They just need space to feel, creativity and solitude. Studies show that people who spend intentional time alone score higher in creativity, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, problem-solving, empathy. Why? Because solitude gives the brain room to breathe. When you're in groups constantly, your mind adapts itself to others. You start thinking in public language, filtering your thoughts, editing your expressions, adjusting your tone. But when you're alone, your thoughts unfold in their natural shape. That's where real creativity comes from. Not from noise, but from stillness. Many great writers, artists, philosophers, and thinkers adored solitude. Not because they hated people, but because they needed mental space to think bigger, feel deeper, imagine more. The misunderstood loneliness. Do home lovers get lonely? Yes, sometimes. But their loneliness is different. It's not the loneliness of emptiness. It's the loneliness of depth. They long for genuine conversations, meaningful bonds, people who understand silence, company that doesn't drain friendships, where presence is enough, relationships where words aren't required. Fit rather be alone than with people who make them feel invisible. That isn't arrogance. It's emotional intelligence. It's protecting their energy. Why they love slowly but deeply. People who enjoy staying home also tend to love differently. Their love is intentional, gentle, careful, observant, loyal. Deep, they choose relationships slowly because they feel everything intensely. And when they commit fully. They don't love loudly. They love meaningfully because they know the value of emotional energy, and they don't waste it. When home becomes healing, not everyone stays home because they prefer it. Some do it because they're tired. Tired of misunderstanding, overstimulation, pretending expectations, social pressure, being too much for some and not enough for others for them. Home isn't an escape from the world. It's a return to themselves. A place where they can breathe without being judged. A place where they can cry without explaining. A place where they can be silent without apologizing. A different kind of strength. We celebrate those who are always out, always active, always participating. But it takes courage to choose stillness in a world addicted to noise. Stillness is not weakness, it's wisdom. People who love staying home are not running from the world. They are reconnecting with themselves so that when they do return to the world, they return calmer, kinder, wiser, more whole, because peace, found through solitude, is the kind of peace no one can take away. Asterisk, there's something almost sacred about the people who choose quiet over chaos. Not because they're afraid of the world, but because they've finally learned to hear themselves. And in a life full of noise, distractions, expectations, and unspoken pressures, hearing yourself is rare. It's powerful. It's an act of survival. The world is loud, not just with sounds, but with demands. Be successful, be productive, be social, be available, be entertaining, be perfect. People who love staying home quietly step away from that pressure. They aren't hiding from life. They're refusing to drown in noise. They're choosing the version of life that lets them breathe. But society doesn't like when someone doesn't follow the script. If you're not constantly out there doing something visible, people assume you're doing nothing. They mistake peace for emptiness. They confuse stillness with stagnation. What they don't realize is that some of the most profound transformations happen in silence. Home as a mirror. When you're home, truly home, not scrolling endlessly, not numbing yourself, but just sitting with your own presence, something unexpected happens. The mirror turns inward. You start to see parts of yourself you missed when life was moving too fast. The desires you buried, the emotions you ignored, the wounds you carried, the dreams you postponed, the versions of yourself you abandoned to fit in at home. Those whispers become clear. People fear solitude not because it's empty, but because it's honest. It reflects your truth, and truth can be uncomfortable. But those who embrace the quiet, they grow from it. The courage of stillness is misunderstood. People think movement equals progress. But there is a kind of movement that happens inside you when your outer world becomes still in silence. You learn what actually drains you, what genuinely fulfills you, what wounds you haven't healed, what dreams still matter, what peace feels like you grow roots. You understand your triggers. You meet your real self without the world watching. That's why quiet souls often become emotionally mature far earlier than others. They've spent time listening inward instead of chasing outward. Why make the world better when they step out ironically? People who spend more time at home often bring better energy into the world than the ones who are always out. Why? Because they're not burned out. They're not overstimulated. They're not acting, they're present. When they enter a room, they bring calm. They observe before reacting. They listen without interrupting. They choose their words with care. They make others feel seen. This is why some of the gentlest, most thoughtful people you meet are the ones who enjoy their own company. They've learned compassion by being compassionate with themselves first. Home as a healing space for many. Home is the place where years of suppressed emotions finally come to the surface. It's where the nervous system gets a chance to feel without protecting itself. You might have experienced this. You come home from a stressful day, close the door, and suddenly tears fall for no reason. Your chest loosens, your breath shakes, your mind releases everything it held tight. That's not weakness, it's your body finally letting go. There's a reason therapy often ends with the phrase, "Give yourself space." Healing requires a safe environment. Home is that environment. And for some, healing becomes a ritual. A cup of tea, soft lights, a comfortable bed, a quiet playlist, a journal, a warm shower. These aren't small things. They are coping tools. They are psychological anchors. They are reminders that you deserve gentleness. The rituals that keep quiet souls alive. People who love staying home often create micro-rituals that keep them grounded. Rearranging a shelf, lighting a candle, organizing a drawer, making tea the same way every day, sitting by a window at sunset, reading the same book multiple times. These little actions may seem insignificant, but they are powerful. They regulate the mind, they signal safety, they bring predictability to chaos. Psychologists say, predictable routines reduce anxiety and increase emotional stability. That's why homebodies feel more balanced even in difficult times. The depth of their relationships. People who enjoy solitude love differently. They don't seek constant contact, they seek meaningful connection. Their relationships are slow building, intention-filled, loyal, deep, emotionally intelligent. They don't play games, they don't pretend, they don't attach themselves to everyone. They choose carefully because they feel intensely. And when they love you, you feel it not loudly, but undeniably. Their presence is soft, but grounding. Their affection is quiet, but steady. Their loyalty is understated, but unbreakable. When home becomes identity, not escape, some assume that staying home is a sign you're avoiding responsibilities or avoiding life. But what if home is where you become your fullest self? Some people don't feel alive in crowds. They feel alive in stillness, in creating, in thinking, in reflecting, in understanding, in feeling deeply. Home is where their life expands inward instead of outward. You carry home inside youth. Most powerful truth of all is this. People who spend a lot of time alone eventually learn to carry home within themselves. They no longer need a specific room to feel safe. They become the safe room. They become the quiet. They become the peace. They become the grounding energy others seek. Once you build that kind of inner home, you stop chasing validation. You stop begging for attention. You stop fearing loneliness. You stop settling for draining people. You stop apologizing for your boundaries because you know what real peace feels like, and you're no longer willing to trade it. The beauty of choosing yourself if you're someone who loves staying home. Maybe no one has ever told you this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not missing out. You're not behind. You're not strange. You're not too quiet or too sensitive. You're simply tuned to a softer frequency in a world addicted to loudness. That softness is not a flaw. It's your superpower. You feel deeply. You notice beauty others overlook. You carry empathy where others carry ego. You create meaning where others create noise. And when you choose stillness over chaos, you're not withdrawing from life. You're connecting to it more honestly. Home is where you meet yourself. Home is not the place where you hide. It's the place where you transform. It's where you remove the mask, where you return to your essence, where you rediscover the parts of you the world made you forget, where you learn that your worth was never tied to crowds or applause. And maybe the greatest realization of all is this: you were never running away from the world. You were running toward yourself. You weren't escaping life. You were finally beginning to live it on your own terms, in your own rhythm, at your own pace. Because sometimes the journey inward is the one that leads you home, and sometimes the quietest lives are the ones lived most deeply.